Look at your own hand. Hold it up in front of your face. It looks solid, does it not? It looks like a continuous piece of matter that belongs to you. You trust it. You trust the chair that is holding your weight. You trust the floor that keeps you from falling into the basement. This trust is the foundation of your sanity. But ask yourself a simple question. Why do you trust it? Is it because you understand how it works? Or is it simply because you have never seen the illusion break? We walk through life assuming that the world is painted with thick, heavy strokes of matter. But what if I told you that you were wrong? What if I told you that your senses are lying to you to keep you from screaming? If we were to strip away the deception and look at what you are actually made of, the horror would paralyze you. If we removed the empty space from the atoms that make up all 8 billion humans on Earth, the entire human race would fit inside the volume of a single sugar cube. Think about that for a second. All the wars, all the skyscrapers, all the oceans, all the bodies, crushed down to the size of a die. So ask yourself, what is the rest? What is the 99.999% of you that takes up space? It is nothing. You are a ghost made of force fields pretending to be a person. And you are walking through a universe that is almost entirely made of the same haunting emptiness. We are taught that space is just a container, a neutral box where things happen. But have you ever stopped to consider the sheer violence of that container? Look up at the night sky. You see points of light and you think the universe is crowded. You think it is full. But that is because your brain is trying to protect you from the scale of the dark. The light is a lie. The light is a rare exception. The true face of the universe is the black between the stars. Imagine you are on the Voyager probe, the fastest object we have ever built. It is screaming through the void at 38,000 miles per hour. It has been traveling for 50 years. And yet on the scale of the galaxy, it has not even left its front porch. If the sun were a grain of sand on a beach, the nearest star would be 4 miles away. And in between those grains, there is absolutely nothing. No air, no warmth, no sound. Just a silence so deep and so old that it would crush your mind instantly if you were exposed to it. We are not travelers in this universe. We are prisoners in solitary confinement locked in tiny cells of light, separated by walls of insurmountable distance. Why is the prison so big? What is the emptiness trying to keep apart? Let us go deeper. Let us look at the floor beneath your feet again. You feel the pressure on your soles. You feel the texture. It feels real. But this is the most terrifying lie of all. In 1911, a physicist named Ernest Rutherford fired particles at a thin sheet of gold, hoping to hit something solid. He expected them to bounce back. Instead, they flew straight through. It was as if he had fired a cannonball at a piece of tissue paper and it vanished. He realized something that day that breaks the rules of intuition. The atom is not a building block. It is a cage. Imagine a football stadium. A massive coliseum capable of holding 100,000 people. Place a single marble in the center of the field. That is the nucleus. That is the only part of you that is actually real. The electrons are tiny gnats buzzing way out in the highest seats of the stands. Everything else, the field, the rows of seats, the air, it is all empty. You are not a solid object. You are a cloud of probability. You are a collection of vibrations in a vacuum that has tricked itself into thinking it is alive. Why does nature need so much empty space to build a single atom? Why is reality 99% stage and 1% actor? Unless the emptiness is the point. This leads us to a realization that is more emotional than scientific. If atoms are mostly empty space, and if their edges are just repulsive force fields, then what happens when you touch someone? Imagine holding the hand of the person you love most in the world. You feel their warmth. You feel their skin. It feels like a connection. But physics laughs at your connection. The electrons in your hand and the electrons in their hand are both negatively charged. Like two magnets with the same polarity, they repel each other with incredible force. You are not feeling their skin. You are feeling the electromagnetic resistance of the void pushing you away. You have never touched anything in your life. You have never kissed your partner. You have never held your child. You have never even touched the ground you walk on. You are hovering on a cushion of atomic repulsion, forever separated from the rest of the world by a microscopic chasm that you can never cross. We are all drifting alone in the dark, reaching out to each other, but never truly making contact. The void is not just around us, it is between us. It is the wall that ensures we remain alone. So why? Why is the universe built on a foundation of nothingness? Why is matter so rare and so isolated? This is where the story turns from strange to terrifying. We used to think the void was passive. We thought it was just the absence of stuff. But the more we look, the more we realize that the emptiness is active. It has a behavior. It has a hunger. The universe is not empty by accident. It is empty by design. Think of matter not as the normal state of things, but as a cancer. A glitch in the smooth perfection of the vacuum. The universe wants to be empty. It wants to be cold. It wants to be still. And all these stars and planets and people are just temporary disturbances that the void is trying to smooth out. The emptiness is not a neutral stage. It is an immune system. And it is working very hard to sterilize the infection. We are not the masters of space. We are the intruders. And as we are about to see, the immune system is waking up. The voids are growing. The walls are closing in. And the silence is getting louder. We have looked down into the abyss of the atom and found it to be a ghost town. But now we must turn our gaze upward because the horror of the microscopic world is perfectly reflected in the heavens above. There is an ancient hermetic maxim that alchemists use to whisper to one another in dark rooms, as above, so below. They believed that the structure of the human body mirrored the structure of the cosmos. They were searching for a divine connection, a proof of grand design, but they inadvertently stumbled upon a terrifying truth. The emptiness inside your atoms is not an exception. It is the rule that governs the entire tapestry of existence. When you stand in a dark field and look up at the night sky, you feel overwhelmed by the sheer number of stars. It looks crowded. It looks busy. It looks like a city of light. But this is a trick of perspective, a cognitive failure of the human brain, designed to keep you sane. You're only seeing the very nearest and brightest neighbors, the local celebrities of our tiny galactic suburb. If you could step back and see the true structure of the cosmos with godlike eyes, the stars would vanish into insignificance. We are conditioned by evolution to focus on the light and ignore the dark because the light meant safety and warmth, while the dark meant predators. But in astrophysics, the dark is what defines the structure. The light is just a cosmetic dusting, a thin layer of glitter on the surface of a deep and indifferent abyss. The reality is that space is not a vacuum interspersed with matter. It is a vacuum that is occasionally and reluctantly contaminated by matter. The solid objects that we cling to for our sense of reality are statistically zero. We are rounding errors in a universe made of absolute nothingness. To understand the true architecture of our prison, we must stop looking at the stars and start looking at the shape of the darkness. Modern supercomputers like the ones at the Max Planck Institute have allowed us to simulate the entire history of the universe, starting from the first milliseconds after the Big Bang. When we run these simulations, evolving them over 13.8 billion years of gravity and expansion, we do not get a random scattering of galaxies like salt spilled on a table. We get a structure, a magnificent and terrifying organic shape known as the cosmic web. Imagine a spider web, three-dimensional and infinite, stretching across the dark. Or better yet, imagine the neural network of a titanic brain. The galaxies are not the web itself. They are just tiny bioluminescent specks of dust caught on the sticky threads. These threads are filaments of dark matter and gas, millions of light years long, stretching across the void to connect galaxy clusters. But here is the catch that should make you shiver. Most of the universe is not the threads. Most of the universe is not the nodes where the threads intersect. Most of the universe is the empty gaps between them. These gaps are called cosmic voids. They are titanic regions of absolute silence, where there are no stars, no galaxies, and no light. The structure of our reality is defined not by what is there, but by what is missing. The voids are the bubbles. The galaxies are just the water trapped between them. And the bubbles are getting bigger, pushing the water into thinner and thinner streams. For a long time, astronomers assumed these gaps were small, local anomalies. They operated under the cosmological principle, which states that on a large enough scale, the universe is homogeneous, meaning it looks the same everywhere, smooth and uniform, like butter. They comforted themselves with the idea that there were no special places and no empty places. They were wrong. In 1981, a team of astronomers, including Robert Kirshner, were conducting a redshift survey mapping the distance to galaxies in the constellation Boötes. They were expecting to find a steady distribution of light. Instead, they hit a dead spot. They checked their instruments thinking they were broken. They checked them again. But the data was cold and undeniable. They had found a region of space so vast that it defied explanation. They had found the Boötes Void, a sphere of nothingness nearly 330 million light-years in diameter. To understand the scale of this nothingness, imagine that the Empire State Building is a galaxy. The Boötes Void would be a region of empty space larger than the entire planet Earth, containing not a single building. Kirshner himself noted with a shudder that if the Milky Way had been in the center of the Boötes Void, we would not have known there were other galaxies until the 1960s. We would have thought we were alone in an infinite dark box. The discovery shattered the comfortable idea of a uniform universe. It revealed that the cosmos is full of holes, and these holes are colossal. This discovery changes our mental picture of the universe completely, and it should change how you feel about your place in it. We like to think of space as an ocean with islands of matter floating in it. That implies that the islands are the main feature, that the land is the point of the map. But the data suggests a different metaphor. The universe is more like a sponge, or a grotesque soap foam. Look closely at soap bubbles in a sink. The air inside the bubbles is the dominant feature. It takes up the vast majority of the volume. The soapy water itself is pushed into thin, fragile films and intersections where the bubbles meet. That is exactly where we live. The voids are the expanding bubbles of empty space. Matter is pushed into thin filaments and sheets surrounding these vast pockets of emptiness. We do not inhabit the safe interior of the bubbles. We live on the precarious surface tension of the film. We are clinging to the edges of the void, trying not to fall in. Matter is the debris that has been swept aside to make room for the nothingness. This structure is known in mathematics as a Voronoi tessellation, and it implies that the driving force of the universe is not the gravity that pulls things together, but the expansion that tears them apart. We are the refugees of the cosmos clustered together on shrinking life rafts, while the ocean of nothingness widens around us. This realization induces a specific kind of cosmic vertigo, a nausea of the soul that comes from understanding your true, statistical insignificance. We are accustomed to thinking of the void as something out there, something distant that we travel through. But the void is the primary geography of existence. The solid matter, the stars, the planets, the gas clouds make up less than 5% of the mass energy budget of the universe. If you were to play a game of cosmic roulette and choose a random coordinate in the cosmos and teleport there, you would almost certainly die instantly in freezing darkness. You would be millions of light years from the nearest warmth. The probability of landing on or even near a star is so infinitesimally small that it is practically zero. Life is an anomaly. Complexity is an anomaly. Warmth is an anomaly. To the universe, we are not the citizens. We are the mold growing in the cracks of a vast and sterile tomb. And as we are about to see, the cracks are getting wider. The voids are not just empty space. They are not passive stage sets. They are the engines of our destruction. They are growing. They are merging. And they are pushing us away from each other into a future of absolute isolation. The emptiness is not just a lack of something, it is a presence, and it is winning. To truly understand the danger we are in, we must stop looking at the universe as a static painting and start seeing it as a battlefield. There is a war going on right now, a silent and violent struggle for control of the cosmos. On one side, we have gravity. Gravity is the builder. It is the force that pulls matter together, creating stars, planets, and galaxies. It tries to build safe harbors of light and warmth. On the other side, we have the void. The void is the destroyer. It is powered by a mysterious pressure that acts in opposition to gravity pushing things apart. For billions of years, these two forces were in a deadlock. Gravity held the galaxies together in clusters, while the void pushed the clusters apart. But something terrifying has happened in the last few billion years. The balance has shifted. Gravity is losing. The voids are winning the war. They are expanding faster than gravity can pull things back. The safe harbors are shrinking. The filaments of the cosmic web are being stretched to their breaking point. Imagine a piece of fabric being pulled from all sides. Eventually the fibers will snap. That is what is happening to our reality. We are living in a losing battle where the ultimate victor will be absolute isolation. The void is not just taking up space, it is conquering it. For decades, astronomers measured the movement of our own galaxy, the Milky Way, and found something strange. We are moving through the universe at an incredible speed of 2 million kilometers per hour. We are racing towards a region of great mass known as the Shapley Attractor. This makes sense because gravity pulls. But when scientists crunched the numbers in 2017, they realized that the pull of the attractor was not enough to explain our speed. We were moving too fast. Something else was influencing us. They looked in the opposite direction and they found a region of deep emptiness, a massive void that was so devoid of matter that it was effectively exerting a repulsive force. They called it the Dipole Repeller. This name sounds technical, but the implication is chilling. We are not just falling towards the mass in front of us. We are being pushed by the emptiness behind us. The void is not passive, it is active. It is shoving our galaxy away like a bully pushing a victim across a playground. We are running away from the dark. We are fleeing a region of space that is so hostile to matter that it physically ejects us. It feels less like physics and more like an eviction. There is a wind blowing from the abyss, and we are caught in the gale. If the dipole repeller is the wind at our backs, then the Eridanus supervoid is the hole in the floor. In 2004, astronomers were analyzing the map of the cosmic microwave background. This is the afterglow of the Big Bang, the oldest light in the universe. It should be uniform, it should be the same temperature everywhere with only tiny fluctuations. But they found a stain, a massive anomaly in the southern hemisphere of the sky where the temperature drops significantly. It is called the cold spot. This region is huge. It spans 1 billion light years. It is a hole in the heat of creation itself. Standard cosmological models cannot explain it. According to the math of the Big Bang, a structure this large and this empty should not exist. The probability of it forming by chance is less than 1%. It stands there like a scar on the face of the universe. When you look at the cold spot, you are looking at a place where the laws of physics seem to have given up. It is a region where the energy of the universe has been drained away, leaving behind a cold, dead scar. And the most terrifying part is that we do not know what drained it. The existence of the cold spot has led to one of the most unsettling hypotheses in modern science. If our universe is self-contained, nothing inside it could have created such a massive hole. Therefore, the cause must be outside. Mathematical physicist Laura Mersini Houghton has proposed that the cold spot is not a random fluctuation, but a collision mark. She suggests that our universe is just one bubble in a vast foam of a multiverse. Occasionally these bubbles bump into each other. The cold spot is the bruise left behind where another universe crashed into ours. Think about the violence of that idea. Another reality with its own laws of physics slammed into our timeline, and the impact was so catastrophic, that it erased 1 billion light-years of matter and energy. It left a permanent wound in the sky. This implies that our void is not just an empty room, it is a thin wall. And on the other side of that wall are other universes, massive and uncaring, drifting through a higher dimensional space. We are not safe in our bubble. We are floating in a chaotic ocean of realities, and we have already been hit once. Who is to say when the next collision will happen? And who is to say the next one will not pop the bubble entirely? We have now mapped the geography of nothingness, and the picture is bleak. We started with the idea that space is empty. Then we realized it is structured into a web. Then we realized the web is made of expanding bubbles of doom. And now we see that we are being pushed around by these bubbles, and that our universe might be colliding with others. This brings us to the second great horror of our journey: paranoia. The universe is not a static stage where we act out our little human dramas. It is a dynamic and violent system that is actively hostile to our presence. We are like insects crawling on the surface of a boiling pot. We think the water is calm because we are small and our lives are short. But the bubbles are rising. The currents are shifting. The dipole repeller is pushing us. The voids are squeezing us. The multiverse is battering us. There is no stability. There is only a slow, chaotic slide towards a dark future. We are running through the dark, trying to find a place to hide, but the geography itself is against us. The map is changing under our feet, and every change brings us closer to the ultimate silence. You might try to comfort yourself with images of colliding galaxies. You have seen the beautiful simulations of the Milky Way merging with Andromeda in 4 billion years. You see the swirling dance of stars, and you think that gravity is still the king. You think that things are coming together. But this is a cruel local illusion. It is the equivalent of two people hugging on the deck of a sinking ship while the rest of the fleet disappears over the horizon. Yes, the Milky Way and Andromeda are bound together by gravity. We are locked in a local pocket of space called the local group, but everything outside this group is leaving. Every other cluster, every other galaxy, every other potential civilization, they are all rushing away from us. The gravitational cables that connect us to the rest of the universe are snapping one by one. The voids between the clusters are widening into unbridgeable chasms. We are destined to merge with Andromeda, to form a single, lonely island in a boundless ocean of black. We are locking the doors and closing the curtains. The party is over, and the guests are leaving, and they are never coming back. How do we know they are leaving? We know because of the light. When an ambulance drives away from you, the pitch of its siren drops. The sound waves get stretched out by the speed of the vehicle. The same thing happens to light. As galaxies run away from us, their light gets stretched. It turns red. This is called redshift. And right now the entire universe is bleeding red. But there is a limit. Eventually the galaxies will move so fast that the light waves will be stretched until they are flat. They will shift out of the visible spectrum, then out of the infrared, then out of radio waves, and then they will vanish. The signal will die. This is not a theoretical problem. It is happening right now. Every second a star crosses the cosmic horizon and disappears from our causal reality forever. It is like watching your friends walk into a thick fog. You can see them for a moment. Then you see only a shadow. And then the fog swallows them whole. They are still there. They still exist. But you can never reach them. You can never see them. You can never know if they are alive or dead. The universe is actively erasing the evidence of its own existence. Let us play a game of time travel. Let us jump forward 100 billion years. The universe has expanded relentlessly. The voids have merged into a single supervoid. All the other galaxies have disappeared over the horizon. Now imagine a civilization arising on a planet, orbiting a star in this future era. Their astronomers build telescopes. They look up. And what do they see? They see nothing. They see only their own galaxy. No cosmic web, no background radiation, no evidence of the Big Bang, no sign that there was ever a universe outside their own borders. They will conclude that they are the entire universe. They will build physics models that say they are alone in an infinite static void. They will be wrong, but they will have no way of knowing it. The truth of the universe will be lost forever. We are living in a privileged moment. We are the only ones who will ever know how big the cage really is. The civilizations of the future will be trapped in a solitary confinement so perfect that they will not even know there is a world outside the cell. They will think the darkness is normal. They will think the silence is peace, but we know better. We know it is a quarantine. Why is this happening? For a long time, we thought it was just momentum. We thought the universe was like a grenade that exploded once and the pieces were just flying apart. We assumed that eventually gravity would slow them down. We thought the pieces would stop flying and maybe even fall back together. But in 1998, we looked at the data and realized we were dead wrong. The expansion is not slowing down. It is speeding up. The grenade is not just exploding. The shrapnel has rockets attached to it. Something is pushing the universe apart from the inside. We call it dark energy, but that is just a label to hide our ignorance. A better name would be vacuum energy. It turns out that empty space is not empty. It has an intrinsic energy. It has a cost. And here's the nightmare logic of the cosmos. As the universe expands, it creates more space. More space means more vacuum energy. More vacuum energy creates more pressure, which causes faster expansion. It is a runaway feedback loop. The void is a virus that replicates itself. It feeds on space to create more space. It is a self-sustaining engine of isolation that will not stop until it has torn everything apart. This brings us to the threshold of the third and perhaps most claustrophobic horror. We are not just small. We are not just hiding in the cracks. We are being actively dismantled. The universe is investing energy to ensure that we never meet our neighbors. The emptiness is not just a distance to be crossed. It is a barrier that is growing faster than we can travel. Even if we invented a spaceship that could travel at 99% of the speed of light, we would never reach the other side of the cosmic web. The space between us and them is being created faster than we can move through it. We are running on a treadmill that is speeding up. We are shouting into a wind that is blowing our words back into our throats. The void is ensuring that every civilization dies alone. It creates a pocket of reality for you, lets you evolve, lets you look at the stars, and then it pulls the stars away. It is a cosmic gaslighting. It teases us with the possibility of connection, only to ensure that the physical laws of reality make that connection impossible. We are not just alone. We are being kept alone. We must now confront the bars of our cage. We have spoken about the void expanding and the galaxies leaving, but you might still have a spark of hope. You might be thinking that we can build faster ships. You might be thinking that human ingenuity can outrun the expansion. You are thinking of the speed of light as a challenge to be overcome. But the speed of light is not a challenge. It is a prison wall. Light travels at 300,000 kilometers per second. It is fast enough to circle the Earth 7 times in a heartbeat. But on the scale of the void, it is agonizingly slow. It is a snail crawling across a continent that is stretching beneath it. Here is the math that kills hope. The space between us and the distant galaxies is expanding. If 2 points are far enough apart, the amount of new space being created between them every second adds up to a distance greater than light can travel in that same second. This means that the expansion of the universe is technically faster than the speed of light. Nothing can travel through space faster than light, but space itself can do whatever it wants. The galaxy is not moving away from us. The road is getting longer faster than we can drive. We are running on a treadmill that is accelerating, and we have already reached our maximum speed. This creates a boundary that is as real and as deadly as a black hole. It is called the cosmic event horizon. Inside this bubble, light can still reach us. Outside of it, the expansion is supersonic. The space is flowing away faster than the information can swim upstream. Any signal sent from outside this horizon will never reach us. Any ship sent to cross it will never return. It is the edge of causality. And the terrifying part is that this horizon is not fixed. Because the expansion is accelerating, the horizon is shrinking. It is closing in on us. Every day, entire sectors of the universe cross the line and are lost to the darkness. We are losing billions of stars every single moment. They are being severed from our timeline. It is as if the universe is slowly deleting its own hard drive, starting from the edges and working its way in. We are safe for now in our local pocket, but the map is being burned at the corners. The observable universe is a shrinking spotlight in an infinite dark room, and we are standing in the center watching the shadows get closer. Let us push this mechanism to its logical conclusion. We have established that the galaxies are leaving and the horizon is shrinking. What does the final state look like? In roughly 100 billion years, the expansion will be so extreme that every galaxy outside our own local group will have passed beyond the event horizon. The night sky will change. Today we see a universe teeming with structures. We see the history of the Big Bang written in the light of distant quasars. But our descendants will see nothing. The light from the Big Bang will be stretched until it is undetectable. The neighboring galaxies will be gone. They will look up and see only the stars of our own galaxy, which by then will be a merged wreck of the Milky Way and Andromeda. They will have no way of knowing that a universe ever existed. They will think that they are the only island of matter in an infinite void. Physics itself will become a lie. They will construct theories based on the evidence they have, and those theories will tell them that the universe is static, eternal, and empty. The expansion does not just erase matter, it erases history. It erases the truth. We are the last witnesses to the reality of the cosmos. After us, the silence will be absolute. But what about the warp drive? What about the wormhole? Science fiction has promised you that we can cheat, that we can fold space and bypass the void. We build mathematical models like the Alchemy drive that suggest we can surf a wave of space-time. But the universe has a defense mechanism against this. It is called causality. The speed of light is not just about speed. It is about the order of events. If you travel faster than light, you can theoretically arrive before you left. You can break the chain of cause and effect. You can kill your grandfather. The universe abhors a paradox more than it abhors a vacuum. Most physicists believe that the energy required to warp space is either infinite or physically impossible to stabilize. The door is locked from the outside. The silence of the universe is the strongest evidence against warp drives. If faster than light travel were possible, someone would have been here by now. The fact that the sky is empty suggests that the speed limit is absolute. We are not going to Star Trek our way out of this. We are strictly confined to the geometry of our bubble. The void is not a puzzle to be solved, it is a sentence to be served. There is a scenario even worse than isolation. A scenario where the expansion does not just separate the galaxies, but tears them apart. It depends on a value called W, the equation of state for dark energy. If this value is -1, the expansion stays constant. But if it is less than -1, we are facing something called phantom energy. In this scenario, the dark energy gets stronger over time. It becomes a monster that grows as it eats. First it pushes the galaxies away. Then it becomes strong enough to overcome the gravity of the galaxy itself. The Milky Way is torn apart. The stars are scattered into the dark. But the monster is not full. It keeps growing. It becomes strong enough to overpower the gravity of the solar system. The Earth is ripped away from the sun. Then it overcomes the electromagnetic force. The planet crumbles. Then it overcomes the strong nuclear force. The atoms themselves are shredded. This is the Big Rip, the ultimate victory of the void. It is the moment when the emptiness becomes so powerful that not even a single atom can exist. The universe ends not with a bang, but with the sound of a space tearing itself apart. We have talked about the emptiness between stars and the emptiness between galaxies. We have treated it like a vast stretch of quiet nothingness, a desert of silence. But now we must zoom in. We must take a microscope to the fabric of space itself, because if you look closely enough, the silence is a scream. Quantum mechanics tells us that there is no such thing as truly empty space. If you take a box and pump out every single atom, every single photon, every single wave of radiation, until it is absolutely perfect vacuum, you still do not have nothing. You have a seething, boiling ocean of violence. Due to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, nature is not allowed to sit still. It is not allowed to have zero energy. So the void cheats. It borrows energy from the future to create particles out of nothing. Matter and antimatter pairs pop into existence for a split second, and then annihilate each other, returning the energy to the bank. This is happening everywhere. In the air in front of your face, in the space between your eyes, in the darkness between the galaxies. The void is alive with phantom particles. It is bubbling. It is frothing. We are like ships floating on an ocean that looks calm from the deck, but underneath the surface there is a chaotic storm of creation and destruction happening at a speed we cannot comprehend. This is called zero-point energy. And it means that the vacuum is not a flaw. It is a tightrope. We are balancing on top of a massive reservoir of dormant power, and we have no idea how deep the water really is. We assume the ocean will hold us up. We assume the vacuum is stable, but what if it isn't? What if the storm breaks the surface? To understand the danger you have to understand the landscape of energy. Imagine a ball rolling down a hill. It rolls until it hits the bottom of a valley and stops. It is stable there. It will not move unless you kick it. This is how we think of our universe. We think the vacuum of space is at the bottom of the valley. We call this the true vacuum. It is the state of lowest possible energy. But the discovery of the Higgs boson in 2012 whispered a terrifying secret to physicists. It suggested that we might not be at the bottom of the valley. We might be stuck on a little ledge halfway down the mountain. We call this a false vacuum. Imagine you're walking on a frozen lake. The ice feels solid. You can jump on it. You can build a house on it. You can build a civilization on it. But underneath the ice, there is deep water. The ice is not the true ground. It is just a temporary state, a local stability. The math of the standard model suggests that our universe is metastable. That is a polite scientific word for a ticking time bomb. It means we are existing in a state that is not permanent. We are the ball stuck on the ledge. And directly below us, separated by a thin barrier of energy, is the true vacuum. The drop is steep, and gravity is waiting. All it takes is one little push. One quantum fluctuation in the wrong place at the wrong time. And the ice breaks. How does the end begin? It does not begin with an invasion. It does not begin with a star exploding. It begins with a mistake. A tiny random quantum accident. Somewhere in the universe, it could be 1 billion light years away, or it could be in the room next to you. A particle tunnels through the energy barrier. It slips off the ledge. It hits the true vacuum. In that instant, the laws of physics, as we know them, cease to exist. The structure of reality snaps into a new configuration. This creates a bubble, a sphere of the new universe growing inside the old one. Inside this bubble, the constants of nature are different. Chemistry is impossible. Atoms cannot hold together. Electromagnetism works differently. It is a region of absolute deletion. This bubble does not just sit there. Because it is at a lower energy state than the surroundings, it expands. It releases the difference in energy as a wall of pure destruction. Think of it like a drop of ink falling into a glass of water, but the ink is fire and the water is gasoline. The bubble pushes outward, consuming the false vacuum and converting it into true vacuum. It eats the fabric of space itself. It is the ultimate forest fire, and the fuel is existence itself. And once it starts, there is no way to put it out. There is no negotiation. There is no defense. The bubble will grow forever until it has consumed the entire universe. The most terrifying thing about this catastrophe is not the destruction. It is the stealth. We are used to disasters that give warnings. We see the hurricane coming on the radar. We see the asteroid in the telescope. We see the smoke before the fire. But the vacuum decay gives no warning. The wall of the bubble expands at exactly the speed of light. This sounds like a technical detail, but think about what it means for your perception. You see things because light travels from an object to your eyes. If a car is coming toward you, the light from the car reaches you before the car does. But if the car is moving at the speed of light, the car and the image of the car arrive at the exact same instant. You cannot see the bubble coming because the bubble is the visual limit. The information that the universe is ending travels at the same speed as the end itself. One moment you are looking at the sky thinking about what to have for dinner. You are happy. You are safe. The next moment you are simply gone. Your neurons do not even have time to fire a signal of pain. Your brain does not have time to register that the light has gone out. 1 millisecond there is biology history, love and fear. The next millisecond there is just exotic quantum sludge. It could be rushing toward Earth right now from the direction of the moon. It would be here in 1 second. And we would be sitting here calmly waiting for it, completely oblivious to the fact that the sky has already fallen. This brings us to the fourth and perhaps the most nihilistic horror of our collection. The horror of fragility. We build our lives on the assumption of continuity. We write history books because we assume there will be someone to read them. We build monuments of stone because we want to be remembered. We treat reality as a stage that was built to hold us. But the false vacuum tells us that the stage is made of rotten wood. We are not the protagonists of this story. We are a temporary statistical fluke balancing on a razor blade. The fact that the universe has existed for 13.8 billion years does not mean it is safe. It just means we have been lucky. We are like a man who has played Russian roulette 1,000 times and survived. He thinks he is immortal. He thinks the gun is not loaded. But the laws of probability are patient. The bullet is in the chamber. It has always been in the chamber. And the truly haunting realization is that if it happens, if the vacuum collapses, it makes everything we have ever done completely meaningless. It is not just death, it is erasure. It is as if we never existed. The new universe inside the bubble will have no record of us. No fossils, no ruins, no radio waves, just a blank slate. We are trembling in the dark, hoping that the nothingness remains content with its shape for just one more day. But the nothingness owes us nothing. Let us linger on this moment of destruction because the human mind refuses to accept it. You are sitting there imagining a wall of fire consuming the sky. You are imagining a rumble in the ground, or a siren wailing, or a flash of blinding light. You are imagining a Hollywood apocalypse where the hero has time to hug his wife and look into the camera. But I need you to understand that the laws of physics do not care about your need for closure. The collapse of the vacuum travels at the speed of light. This is not just a velocity. It is the speed of causality itself. It is the speed at which information exists. Think about what that means. For you to see something light, particles must bounce off it and hit your retina. Then your brain must process that signal, which takes about 13 milliseconds. If the vacuum collapse is coming, it is moving faster than your brain can process reality. It is moving faster than the electrical signals in your optic nerve. You will never see it. You will never hear it. You will never feel it. One moment you are holding a cup of coffee, feeling the warmth against your palm, smelling the roast, thinking about your deadline at work. In the exact same moment, the laws of chemistry that hold your coffee cup together are rewritten. The electrons bonding the ceramic atoms evaporate. The protons in your hand dissolve. But you do not feel pain because pain requires a nervous system, and your nervous system has ceased to exist before the signal could leave your fingertips. It is the perfect murder. There is no body. There is no witness. There is no crime scene. There is only a sudden absolute transition from being to non-being. You are not killed. You are unwritten. And the most terrifying part is that because it travels at light speed, it could have happened 5 years ago in the Alpha Centauri system. And the sphere of death is rushing towards us right now across the void, and we would still see Alpha Centauri shining peacefully in the night sky, because the image of the star and the death of the star are arriving together. We are looking at a sky that might already be dead. You might be thinking that this is just a ghost story, a theoretical boogeyman invented by physicists to scare themselves in the dark. You might think that surely the universe is stable because it has been here for 13.8 billion years. But we have measured the stability of the ground we stand on, and the numbers are terrifying. It all comes down to the Higgs boson, the so-called God particle discovered in 2012. The mass of this particle combined with the mass of the top quark gives us a coordinate on the map of cosmic stability. If the Higgs were lighter, we would be safe in the stable valley. If it were heavier, the universe would have collapsed immediately after the Big Bang. But the mass of the Higgs is roughly 125 gigaelectron volts. When you plot that number on the graph, it lands exactly in the worst possible place, the sliver of metastability. Imagine a pencil balanced on its tip. It stands there for a long time. It looks stable, but it is not stable. It is waiting for a breath of wind. We are that pencil. The fundamental field that gives mass to every atom in your body is balanced on a razor edge. Why is it like this? Why would nature build a universe that is primed to self-destruct? Some physicists believe it is because this instability is the only way complexity can arise. A perfectly stable universe might be a dead universe frozen in an eternal ice. A collapsing universe is a chaotic fire. We exist in the thin, tragic window between the ice and the fire. We are alive only because the pencil has not fallen yet. But every single second that passes is another spin of the chamber in a game of cosmic Russian roulette, played with a gun we cannot see, pointing at a head we do not realize we have. This leads us to a thought that creates a deep, hollow feeling in the stomach. If the probability of vacuum decay is real, and if the universe is infinitely old or part of an infinite multiverse, then statistically it should have happened already. Why are we still here? Why are you breathing? This is where the Anthropic principle turns from a philosophical comfort into a horror story. Imagine a firing squad with 10,000 riflemen all aiming at your heart. They all pull the trigger. Click. Every single gun jams. You are alive. Do you praise your skill? Do you praise God? Or do you realize that there is something suspicious about the situation? In a multiverse theory, there are trillions of universes. In most of them, the vacuum collapsed instantly. In others, it collapsed after 1 million years. In others, it collapsed yesterday. Those universes are dead. There is no one there to ask the question, why am I here? We are asking the question only because we are the survivors of a massacre we did not see. We are walking through a graveyard of failed realities, thinking that we are special because we are still walking. But survival is not a proof of safety. It is just a proof of luck. And luck by definition runs out. We are suffering from the ultimate survivor bias. We look at the empty stable void and think it is friendly. But we are like the one soldier who walked out of the machine gun fire without a scratch. We think the war is safe, but the bodies are piled just out of sight in the dimensions we cannot perceive. The emptiness is not peaceful. It is simply the silence of the millions who went before us and were erased. But there is a trap even deeper than the physical death of the universe. There is the trap of your own mind. Let us look at the concept of entropy again. The universe moves from order to disorder. It is much easier to break a glass than to make one. It is much easier to create chaos than to create a human brain. A human brain is the most complex arrangement of matter we know of. It requires billions of years of evolution, stable stars, carbon chemistry, and luck. It is incredibly unlikely. But quantum mechanics says that in an infinite amount of time, random fluctuations can create anything. Given enough time, particles in the void will randomly bump into each other and form a rock, or a clock, or a single living cell, or a fully formed human brain complete with false memories of a life it never lived. This is the Boltzmann brain paradox. The math suggests that it is overwhelmingly more likely for a single brain to hallucinate its existence in the void than for an entire complex universe to actually exist. Think about that. What is more probable? That the billions of galaxies and the history of Rome and your childhood and the coffee you were drinking are all real physical objects requiring a massive synchronized Big Bang? Or that you are a momentary fluctuation in the static? A lonely consciousness that sparked into existence for 1 second in the deep darkness, hallucinating a past that never happened, and a future that will never arrive. You assume you are a biological creature reading a script, but you could be the void dreaming of being human. And when the fluctuation ends in a microsecond, the dream will end, and there will be only the silence again. Let us step back from the edge of solipsism. Let us assume the universe is real. Let us assume the vacuum does not collapse today. What is left? What is the future of this empty room we call reality? We are now entering the 5th and final act of our tragedy, the era of degeneracy. The stars are not eternal engines. They are fuel tanks, and the fuel is running low. In about 100 trillion years, the last star in the universe will fuse its last atom of hydrogen. It will sputter and die. The lights will go out. The universe will become a graveyard of cooling corpses, white dwarfs, neutron stars, brown dwarfs. But in the dark, there will be monsters, the black holes. During the starry era, they were the predators hiding in the shadows, eating the careless. But in the dark era, they will be the kings. They will sweep up the debris of the dead galaxies. They will grow darker and more massive. Imagine a universe where there is no light anywhere. Just massive invisible gravity wells orbiting each other in the blackness. Occasionally 2 of them will collide and send a shiver of gravitational waves through the fabric of space-time, but there will be no one to feel it. The void will have finally conquered the light. Matter will be locked away in these prisons of infinite density where time and space are twisted. To understand the true horror of the black hole era, you must understand the scale of time we are talking about, because the human brain is simply not built for it. We struggle to comprehend 1,000 years. We call it history. We struggle to comprehend 1,000,000 years. We call it an epoch. But the era of the stars, the time when the universe is lit by fusion and warmth, is nothing. It is a rounding error. It is a single flash of a camera shutter in a movie that lasts for 1,000,000,000 years. If the entire lifespan of the universe were compressed into a 24-hour day, the period where stars exist, where life is possible, where you and I are having this conversation, would last for less than 1/trillionth of a single second. We are not the main characters of the universe. We are not even the extras. We are the opening glitch that flashes on the screen before the real movie begins. The black hole era is the real movie. It will last for years, so long that we have to invent new mathematics just to write them down. A 1 followed by 40 zeros. 10,000 trillion years of absolute darkness. Imagine sitting in a room with the lights off waiting for something to happen. You wait for a year. You wait for 1,000,000 years. You wait for 1,000,000,000,000 years. And nothing happens. Just the silent gravitational dance of dead stars and black holes circling each other in the void. This is not a dark future. This is the normal state of the universe. We are the freaks living in the brief moment of blinding light before the eternal night settles in. The universe is not a place of life. It is a place of death that is currently holding its breath, and we are just the condensation on the mirror before it fades. But even the monsters are mortal. We tend to think of black holes as eternal. We think of them as the ultimate winners of the cosmic game because they eat everything else. They are the immovable objects. They are the final tombs of matter. But in 1974, Stephen Hawking discovered a mechanism that turns the void into a weapon against them. It is called Hawking radiation. Remember the quantum fluctuations we talked about earlier? The particles popping in and out of existence in the vacuum. When this happens on the very edge of a black hole, One particle falls in and the other escapes. To balance the books of the universe, the energy for the escaping particle must come from the black hole itself. The void is literally stealing mass from the monster one atom at a time. It is a slow, agonizing death. The black hole is not destroyed in battle, it is starved. It is evaporated. The emptiness surrounds the conquerors and slowly dissolves them into nothingness. It is the ultimate irony. The objects that possess the strongest gravity in the universe, the objects that can trap light itself, are powerless against the patient hunger of the vacuum. The void does not need to be strong. It just needs to be patient. And as we have established, it has all the time in the world. It will wait for googles of years until the last fortress of gravity crumbles into dust. The death of a black hole is not quiet. As it shrinks, it gets hotter. It radiates energy faster and faster. In the final moments of its life, after trillions of years of slow evaporation, the black hole loses control. It explodes with the force of 1 billion nuclear bombs. It releases a final scream of high-energy particles into the dark. And then silence. Total, absolute silence. This leads us to one of the most melancholic images in all of physics. Someday, in the unimaginably distant future, the very last black hole in the universe will reach the end of its life. It will be the last structure in existence, the last holder of mass, the last thing that separates something from nothing, and it will explode. It will be a flash of light in a darkness that has lasted for eternity. There will be no eyes to see it. There will be no minds to record it. It will be the final event in the history of the universe, the period at the end of the sentence. After that flash fades, the universe will enter the dark era. There will be no more gravity, no more light, no more mass, just a sea of photons redshifted into such low energy that they are practically non-existent. The show is over. The theatre is empty. The audience is gone, and the doors are locked from the outside. But what about the rest? What about the planets that were thrown out of their galaxies? What about the cold rocks and the dust? Surely they will last forever floating in the dark. Physics has bad news for them too. It is called proton decay. We are taught that protons are stable building blocks, but many grand unified theories suggest that protons are not immortal. They are just very long-lived. Over timescales of 10 to the power of 34 years, even the protons in the nucleus of an atom will break down. They will dissolve into lighter particles like positrons and pions, which will then decay into photons. This means that matter itself is temporary. The chair you are sitting on, the screen you are watching, the bones in your body, they are all destined to dissolve. Imagine a statue made of ice standing in a desert. It looks solid for a while, but slowly molecule by molecule it sublimates into the air. That is the fate of all solid matter. There will come a time when there is not a single atom left in the cosmos. No rocks, no dust, no gas. The universe will be a soup of thin radiation spreading out into an infinitely expanding void. The concept of an object will cease to make sense. You could fly for 1 trillion light years and never hit anything because there is nothing to hit. The void will have finally achieved its goal. It will be pure, unadulterated emptiness. The canvas has been wiped clean. And this brings us to the final horror, the death of time itself. We think of time as a river that flows. We think of it as a fundamental dimension. But time is actually a measurement of change. We measure time by the ticking of a clock, the rotation of the Earth, the orbit of the Sun, the vibration of an atom. We measure it by events. One thing happens, then another thing happens. But in the dark era, nothing happens. The universe reaches a state of maximum entropy. This is the heat death. The temperature is absolute zero everywhere. The energy density is uniform. There is no flow of energy from hot to cold because everything is the same cold. When the universe reaches this state, the arrow of time breaks. Past, present, and future become meaningless concepts. If nothing changes, if every atom is gone and every photon is identical, then 1 second is indistinguishable from 1 trillion years. Time stops. Not because the clock is broken, but because there is nothing left to measure. The universe becomes a frozen, timeless tomb. It is not just dead. It is erased from the possibility of ever being anything else. This is the reason the emptiness is terrifying. Because it is not just a spatial emptiness, it is a temporal emptiness. It is a state where existence itself becomes a forgotten dream. The silence is not waiting for us. The silence is the destination. And we are speeding towards it at the speed of light. Now that we have reached the end of time, let us revisit a concept that becomes terrifying only when you have eternity to play with. We talked about the void boiling with quantum particles. In the infinite darkness of the heat death, there is no structure left, but there is still probability. The laws of quantum mechanics say that anything that can happen will happen given enough time. If you wait long enough, particles will randomly bump into each other and form an atom. If you wait longer, they will form a molecule. If you wait an eternity, they will form a working human brain. This is the Boltzmann brain. It is a fully conscious mind that spontaneously assembles out of the chaos of the vacuum. It has memories. It remembers a childhood. It remembers a first kiss. It remembers reading a script about the end of the universe. But none of those things happened. They are just a random configuration of neurons that sparked into existence for a microsecond before dissolving back into the void. This leads to a question that should make your blood run cold. What is more likely? That the universe actually evolved through 13 billion years of Big Bangs and star formations just to make you, or that you are a random fluctuation in the eternal darkness right now? The math says the fluctuation is exponentially more likely. You might be the only thing that exists. You might be floating in the dead universe, dreaming of a world that died 1 trillion years ago. And when you blink, the dream will end. But there is a fate worse than death, and worse than hallucination. It is the fate of repetition. In 1890, Henri Poincaré proved a theorem that sounds like a curse. He proved that any system with a finite amount of energy confined in a finite space must eventually return to its initial state. The universe is finite. The energy is finite. The particles can only be arranged in so many ways. It is a massive number, but it is not infinity. This means that eventually, after a span of time so long that it makes the black hole era look like a blink, the particles in the universe will randomly shuffle back into the exact configuration they are in right now. The Big Bang will happen again. The stars will form again. You will be born again. You will make the same mistakes. You will feel the same pain. You will read this same sentence. And you will do it again. And again. Forever. The void is not just destroying us, it is recycling us. We are trapped in a loop of suffering and existence that we cannot escape, because the laws of probability dictate that we must return. The silence of the universe is not an ending. It is the pause between the tracks on a broken record that never stops playing. So let us return to the question we started with. Why is the universe empty? Why is there so much nothing and so little something? We have looked at the physics. We have looked at the expansion. We have looked at the decay. And now the answer should be clear. The universe is empty because emptiness is the goal. We tend to think of existence as the purpose of the universe. We think the universe was made to create stars and life. But the evidence suggests the exact opposite. The universe is a machine designed to maximize entropy. It is a machine designed to destroy energy gradients. It creates stars only to burn them out. It creates black holes only to evaporate them. It creates life only to accelerate the consumption of resources. We are not the point. We are the fuel. The emptiness is the factory floor. The expansion is the conveyor belt. And the heat death is the finished product. The universe is empty because it is efficiently clearing the clutter. It is trying to return to a state of zero. We are just the messy sparks flying off a grinder that is smoothing down the rough edges of reality. There is a psychological experiment where you put a person in an anechoic chamber, a room designed to absorb 99.99% of all sound. It is the quietest place on Earth. You might think it would be peaceful, but people who go in there do not find peace. They find horror. After a few minutes, the silence becomes heavy. They start to hear their own heart beating. Then they hear their blood rushing through their veins. Then they hear the high-pitched whine of their own nervous system. The silence drives them to the edge of madness because the human mind requires input. It requires a reflection. The universe is the ultimate Anacoic chamber. We are screaming into it with our radio telescopes and our spacecraft and our philosophy. We are desperate for an echo. We want someone to say, "I hear you." But the walls are too far away, and they're moving away faster than the speed of sound. The silence we hear is not just the absence of noise, it is the sound of our own isolation amplified by 13 billion light years of nothing. It is the universe telling us that we are the only noise it has not silenced yet, and it is waiting for us to run out of breath. We have peeled back the layers. We started with the space in your room. We went to the atom. We went to the galaxy. We went to the end of time. And everywhere we looked, we found the same thing. The void. It is the alpha and the omega. It is the canvas and the paint. It is the womb and the grave. And this brings us to the final terrifying realization. The reason the universe is empty is not because something is missing. It is empty because we are the anomaly. We are the intrusion. Imagine a perfect still lake that has been calm for 1,000,000 years. Then a pebble falls in. The ripples disturb the surface. The water is chaotic for a moment, but the lake wants to be still. It works to absorb the energy of the ripple. It spreads it out. It dissipates it, until the water is glass again. We are the ripple. The void is the lake. All our wars, our loves, our history, our science are just the temporary agitation of a system that is correcting itself. We are fighting a war against equilibrium. And equilibrium always wins. The universe is empty because that is its natural state. And soon, very soon, it will be natural again. There is a strange paradox at the bottom of this abyss. We have spent the last hour dissecting the horror of our situation. We have looked at the monsters in the dark and the walls closing in. But if you look at the nothingness long enough, the fear begins to change into something else. It turns into a cold, hard comfort. If the universe is huge and empty, and if we are just a momentary glitch, then our mistakes do not matter. Your embarrassment does not matter. Your failures do not matter. The wars we fight over lines on a map do not matter. We are screaming on a sinking ship, but the ocean does not care about our politics. There is a freedom in being a rounding error. We carry the weight of the world on our shoulders because we think we are the center of the story. But the void tells us to put the weight down. It tells us that the story is not about us. We are just the audience for a show that is too big to understand. The emptiness strips away our ego. It forces us to realize that the only thing that is real is the immediate experience of being alive right now. The future is dead. The past is erased. There is only this fragile moment of awareness before the lights go out. And that makes this moment infinitely precious. Let us reframe the glitch. We said that life is an anomaly. That is true. But it is a miraculous anomaly. For 13.8 billion years, the universe was blind. It was a machine of gravity and radiation grinding gears in the dark. It did not know it existed. It had no name. It had no color. It had no meaning. And then, you opened your eyes. For a brief flickering second, the universe woke up. It grew a brain capable of looking at itself. It grew a voice capable of asking, why? You're not just a person living in the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself. You are the way the void knows it is there. Without you, the stars are not beautiful. They are just fusion reactors. Without you, the emptiness is not terrifying. It is just distance. We are the nerve endings of the cosmos. We are the sensation of being. Yes, we are going to die. Yes, the heat death is coming. But right now, we are the only thing in the endless dark that feels. We are the flame that defines the shadow. And even if the flame goes out, the fact that it burned at all is a defiance of the mathematics of nothingness. We humans are obsessed with legacy. We build pyramids. We write books. We carve our names into trees. We want to leave a mark that says, "I was here." But the void promises us that there will be no mark. There will be no ruins left to find. The atoms of our monuments will be scattered. The radio waves of our songs will fade into static. The very memory of our species will be wiped clean. This sounds depressing, but it is actually the ultimate truth. Reality does not tolerate clutter. It returns to zero. This means that we cannot live for the future. We cannot live for a legacy that will not exist. We must live for the act of living itself. The value of a song is not that it is recorded forever. The value is in the singing. The value of a life is not in what it leaves behind, but in how it feels while it is happening. The void teaches us that permanence is an illusion. The only thing we have is the temporary, the fleeting, the ephemeral. We are writing our names in water, and that is okay. The water does not need to remember us. We just need to enjoy the touch of it while we can. So here is the answer to the question we asked at the very beginning. The universe is empty for a reason, and the reason is not to scare us. It is not to hide aliens. It is not a simulation boundary. The universe is empty because emptiness is the only thing that is sustainable. Complexity is expensive. Life is expensive. Matter is expensive. They require energy. They require order. They require a fight against the natural flow of things. The universe is empty because it is resting. It is returning to its baseline. We are the fever dream of a sleeping giant. We are the brief moment of turbulence in a calm sky. The terror we feel when we look at the night sky is just the shock of realizing that we are not the rule. We are the exception. We are the intricate frost pattern on a window pane that is about to melt in the morning sun. The sun is coming up. The heat death is coming. The frost will vanish. But for this one moment, the pattern is beautiful. And it is terrifyingly complex. And it is ours. Stand up. Go to the window. Look at the darkness. Do not turn on the light. Just look at it. Feel the size of it. Feel the weight of the silence pressing against the glass. It is out there right now. The expanding voids, the dying stars, the hungry black holes, the decaying vacuum. It is a machine of absolute annihilation, and it is running at full power. It surrounds you on all sides. It is under your feet. It is inside your atoms. You are drowning in it. But you are not dead yet. You are here. You are conscious. You are the glitch that refuses to be corrected. You are the silence breaker. The void has spent billions of years trying to return to zero, and you are the one thing standing in its way. You are the resistance. Every breath you take is an act of rebellion against the entropy of the universe. Every thought you think is a defiance of the decay. Do not fear the emptiness. Pity it. It has to wait for eternity to win. You only have to make it count for a lifetime. The universe is empty, but you are full, and that is enough. Now comes the hardest part of our journey. Not the physics, not the math, not the terror of the black holes or the crushing weight of the entropy. The hardest part is what happens next. In a few minutes, this video will end. The sound of my voice will stop. The screen will go black. And you will be left alone in the silence of your room. You will have to stand up. You will have to walk out the door. You will have to go back to the world of the living. You will have to brush your teeth. You will have to talk to your family. You will have to go to work tomorrow and pay your taxes and worry about the traffic and listen to people complain about the weather. And you will feel a sensation that is known as the vertigo of the mundane. It is the feeling of a deep disconnect between the reality you see and the reality you know exists. You will look at the walls of your house and you will not see safety. You will see the 99% empty space we talked about. You will see the vibrating fields of force holding the atoms together by sheer luck. You will look at the sky and you will not see a blue roof. You will see the open hatch of a spaceship that is venting atmosphere into a vacuum. You will look at the people around you walking down the street, laughing at their phones, drinking their coffee, and you will see them as biological machines made of dying stars, walking on the crust of a cooling rock that is falling around a nuclear explosion in the middle of a desert of nothingness. This is the burden of the Watcher. Once you have seen the machinery behind the curtain, you cannot unsee it. The illusion of the solid world is broken. You are like a diver who has gone too deep into the abyss and has come back to the surface too quickly. The bends are not in your blood. They are in your mind. The pressure of the void is still pushing on your thoughts, even though you're back in the warm air. You will feel a sense of alienation, a feeling that everyone else is asleep and you are the only one who is awake. You will want to shake them. You will want to grab the stranger on the bus and scream at them. Do you not realize where we are? Do you not realize that we are balancing on a razor blade over a pit of infinite darkness? Do you not realize that the silence is coming? But you will not scream. You will sit there. You will nod. You will smile. You will play the game. Because that is what we do. We are the species that looks into the abyss and then goes to make a sandwich. And perhaps that is the most heroic thing about us. The ability to carry the weight of the cosmic horror in the back of our minds and still find the will to care about the small things. To care about a deadline. To care about a football game. To care about a smile. It is an act of defiance. It is an act of denial. And it is the only thing keeping us sane. The vertigo will fade eventually. The calluses on your mind will grow back. The illusion will solidify again, but a part of you will always remember. A part of you will always be standing on the edge of the Boötes Void, staring into the dark, knowing that the emptiness is the only thing that is truly real. Let us deepen this sense of responsibility. If the universe is indeed empty, if the great filter has wiped out everyone else, if the distances are too vast to cross, then we arrive at a staggering conclusion. We are it. We are the only game in town. Look at the Earth again. Do not look at it as a resource. Do not look at it as a map of nations. Look at it as a museum. The museum of last things. The only place in the observable universe where matter has woken up. The only place where there is music. The only place where there is pain. The only place where there is love. If we destroy ourselves, if we let the darkness inside us win, if we succumb to the entropy of our own nature, then the lights go out in the only gallery that exists. The universe goes back to being blind. It goes back to being a dumb machine grinding rocks in the dark. This thought should terrify you more than the black holes. It should terrify you more than the vacuum decay. Because the black holes are inevitable. But our survival is a choice. We are holding the candle in a hurricane. And we are arguing about who gets to hold the matches. We are fighting over territory on a lifeboat while the ocean is rising. The emptiness of the universe is not an excuse for nihilism. It is the ultimate argument for humanism. Because if no one else is watching us, then we have to watch out for each other. If no one else cares, then our care is the only currency that has any value. If there is no God to save us, then we have to be the gods we are waiting for. We are the curators of meaning. We are the guardians of the flame. Every act of kindness is a rebellion against the cold. Every act of creation is a war against the decay. Every time you create order out of chaos, you are fighting the heat death. You are not just living a life. You are performing a duty. You are the universe trying to understand itself before the brain damage of entropy sets in. We are the memory of the cosmos. And if we die, the cosmos develops amnesia. It forgets that it ever birthed a star. It forgets that it ever knew warmth. It forgets us. So when you look at the stars tonight, do not feel small. Feel heavy. Feel the weight of the crown you are wearing. You are the king of the void. You are the queen of the silence. And the kingdom is entirely yours to protect or to destroy. The silence is not judging you. The silence is relying on you. There is a transformation that happens when you stare at the dark long enough. It is a strange alchemy where fear turns into awe. We have spent this entire time talking about how the universe is a machine of destruction, how it is hostile, how it is indifferent. But there is another side to this coin. The very fact that the universe is so hostile makes the existence of life so much more beautiful. Think about the odds. Think about the chain of events that had to go right for you to be here. The gravity constant had to be exactly right. The expansion rate had to be exactly right. The carbon had to form in the hearts of dying stars. The stars had to explode. The dust had to gather. The planet had to cool. The water had to stay liquid. The cell had to divide. The asteroid had to miss. The predator had to sleep. Your ancestors had to survive ice ages and plagues and wars. It is a streak of luck that defies mathematics. It is a lottery ticket that has won every single day for 4 billion years. You are the result of that streak. You are the impossible object. The emptiness of the universe acts as a contrast. A black velvet background that makes the diamond of consciousness shine brighter. If the universe were full of life, if every star had a civilization, if the galaxy were a crowded city, then you would be ordinary. You would be just another citizen of the cosmos. But because the universe is empty, you are rare. You are precious. You are unique. The hostility of the void is what gives your life its value. You are a flower growing in a vacuum chamber. The fact that you exist at all is an insult to the laws of probability. It is a middle finger to the entropy. So do not fear the dark. The dark is what makes you shine. The fear you feel is just the vertigo of rarity. It is the dizziness of knowing that you are holding a Ming vase in the middle of a battlefield. The fragility is the point. The impermanence is the point. If you lived forever, you would not be human. You would be a rock. But because you are fragile, because you are temporary, because you are surrounded by the void, every second you breathe is a victory. Every beat of your heart is a triumph. You are stealing time from the end of the world. And you should enjoy the heist. We are nearing the end of the spiral. We started by looking at your hand and finding it empty. We traveled to the edge of the universe and found it racing away. We looked at the future and found the death of time. And now we are back here. Back in your room, back in your body. The circle is closed, but you are not the same person who started this journey. You have been initiated. You have looked behind the veil. You carry the secret of the void. And the secret is this: the universe is not a place. It is a process. It is a flow. And you are not a thing in the universe. You are part of the process. You are a wave on the ocean. The wave is not separate from the ocean. It is the ocean behaving in a certain way for a certain time. When the wave crashes on the shore, it does not die. It becomes the ocean again. The atoms in your body were forged in the Big Bang. They cycled through stars. They became rocks. They became plants. They became you. And one day they will become the soil. They will become the air. They will become the light of a dying sun. They will become the void. There is no separation. The emptiness is not an enemy. The emptiness is your home. It is where you came from, and it is where you are going. The horror comes from the ego. The ego wants to be separate. It wants to be permanent. It wants to be a fortress. But the fortress will fall. The walls will crumble. And when they do, you will not be destroyed. You will be released. You will return to the silence that birthed you. You will become the silence. And in that silence, there is no fear. There is no pain. There is only peace. The peace of the inanimate. The peace of the stone. The peace of the star. The peace of the void. So do not be afraid of the ending. The ending is just the beginning of the rest. The universe has been working hard to create you. It is tired. It wants to rest. And one day you will rest with it. Until then, you have a job to do. You have to witness. You have to feel. You have to remember. You have to be the eyes of the blind God. You have to be the voice of the mute cosmos. You have to be the resistance. This is the end of the transmission. The signal is fading. The data is corrupting. The noise is taking over. The expansion is pulling the words out of my mouth before they can reach you. But before the silence takes us completely, I want you to do one last thing. I want you to turn off the screen. I want you to sit in the dark for 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Do not check your phone. Do not move. Just sit. Listen to the hum of the world. Listen to the blood in your ears. Listen to the silence behind the noise. That silence is the truth. Everything else is a story we tell ourselves to pass the time. The story is a good story. It has heroes. It has villains. It has love and it has loss. But it is just a story. The silence is the paper it is written on. And the paper is crumbling. The ink is fading. The book is closing. But do not be sad. Because for a brief, glorious, impossible moment, the story was read. The story was heard. The story was lived. And that is enough. That has to be enough. Because it is all we have. The universe is empty for a reason. It is empty so that you can fill it. So go. Fill it. Fill it with noise. Fill it with life. Fill it with hope. Fill it until the very end. Scream into the void. And do not stop screaming until the lights go out. Good night. And good luck.